Ladies and gentlemen, Brandy J's podcast, A Voice to be Reckoned With, would like to thank you for making the right choice in choosing a podcast that moves a nation. And now, here she is in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey there, everybody. This is Brandy J, and you're here on my show, A Voice to be Reckoned With. I have with me today Marissa Forte, and hear what Marissa has to say about SeaWorld and the advocates, and in particularly the whales. And also, we talk a little bit about what's going on today with the coronavirus. So please, listen in and give ear to Marissa Forte. Hey everybody, welcome back to my show, A Voice to be Reckoned with Brandy J. Today I have here with me Marissa Forte, and she is with Humane Captivity, and we're here to shed some light on basically, well, I'm going to go ahead and let Marissa tell you. Marissa, are you there?
Yes, I am. And here, my main focus right now is that there's this new ban coming from one of our state senators here in California that's going to harm businesses like SeaWorld because it is going to directly affect animals in the most negative of ways.
Oh, wow. Marissa, can you elaborate and tell us a little bit more about what you just said?
Mm-hmm. So according to the ban, it will ban the captivity of cetaceans, like bottlenose dolphins, pilot whales, killer whales, whatever dolphins that may be held at places like SeaWorld, and apparently Six Flags Magic Kingdom or something also has dolphins, which I didn't even realize there was another park in California that had dolphins, but there's always something new to learn.
Wow.
And so what would happen... oh, sorry.
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So according to the ban is that these places will no longer be able to hold these cetaceans, period, is that they'll have to be released in some fashion because there's no importing, exporting, or moving them to certain parks or for like certain things. Like one of their pilot whales was moved from another park because I'm pretty sure it was for a medical reason. And I'm not entirely sure on that one. I could be completely wrong, but they sometimes move certain animals to certain parks because it's probably better suited for them. And it's just if you stop that, these animals are going to suffer, SeaWorld right now only has 2 pilot whales, so if one dies, this one pilot whale is going to be there, and it's going to be pretty lonely. And so how the ban would affect them is that whales in captivity, especially ones that are rescued or that have been bred to live there, cannot survive in the wild because they either were directly affected by the wild or they don't know what the wild is, period. Their ecosystem is the tank. And so moving them from that ecosystem to another is going to very much harm them, and it's also going to harm the wild population because there's the cross-contamination of viruses and diseases, and we have that disease going around, the coronavirus, and PETA recently put out a thing that is so dumb that was they were trying to advocate for why cetaceans should be released, but it actually made a better argument as why they should be kept in tanks is because these viruses we see in captivity versus in the wild would probably directly harm wild cetaceans, so we should keep them in places where we can research and cure them before we can ever release an animal,
Yeah, definitely. That does make a lot of sense, and that's why I appreciate having you on today to shed more light, you know what I mean, for people to, because they probably are just listening strictly to what PETA is saying, or you know what I mean, versus finding out the facts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I'm a lover of SeaWorld. I grew up going to SeaWorld, and I did watch Blackfish, and it did kind of strike me like, whoa, and
Yeah, it gets at the emotions, but that's
yeah,
what it's supposed to be doing. Because, when I was taking AP Ling, we were talking about logos, pathos, and ethos, and so pathos is emotion. If you appeal to that enough, like with like charismatic leaders and stuff like that, you can get people to think and act a certain way.
yeah.
And so that's the problem, because there wasn't much logos, facts and stuff like that. And there were so many misleading images, and some of the interviews were completely wrong, and the interviewers weren't aware. And like the director, Gabrielle Kaufman, apparently told them not to criticize until after it won an award. So it was really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can honestly say then that they executed, if that was their mission, they did it well, because I was from beginning to end. And this is me, a SeaWorld lover, but me, my whole concern and where I felt, bad about was what the whale with Telecom was going through versus, these things were happening and they said trainers were hurt and fatally, of course that's something that affects you too, and you feel for them and the family. I felt really bad for the Telecom because he's a whale.
Yeah, and they like tried to paint him as this like monster that has like a psychological issue, and it's like it's true, but they're trying to put it on SeaWorld, when in reality the park that Telecom came from beforehand was the park that kind of affected him the way that they do, because SeaWorld has way more ethical ways to treat their animals, like positive reinforcement, stuff like that, versus keeping them in a dark tank at night and starving them.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Well, I definitely, when I started to look more into it, and then, the whole PETA, because as soon as they said, at first I got the news saying that SeaWorld was, the whole park was shutting down. I was like, wait, what, huh? And then it was told like, okay, well, there'll be no more Shamu show. It's going to be an educational show. I was like, well, I'm going to go check this out. That's how I convinced myself that it'd be okay. Like, I'm just going to go do some speculating and spectating, which I did. And I noticed right off the bat the changes and and everything. And
it was like no more Shamu anywhere.
No. Yeah, no jumping in the water, all this, all this great stuff that over all these years that people loved to do. But I truly think that nobody's really thinking this through. Like, okay, if you stop all the making money off entertainment of these animals and shut it down, it's like, okay. And then my next thought was, okay, so what are you going to do with the animals? I say, you can't put them back out into the wild, because some of them were never in the wild. You know what I mean? They were born, here. Some would say captivity, but born in SeaWorld.
Yeah.
And then, they've been fed. The reality is they've, been taken care of by man, by human beings. They're getting fed their food, and they have a whole different way of living versus going out. That'll be a shock. Might have a heart attack, or something.
Yeah.
Or, going back out there, and it would be just like so sad because they're used to the conditions that they live in right now. So I was just thinking, like, how is that going to work? And then if they don't, I'm not the animal, so I don't know if they enjoy doing the shows or not, or whatever it may be. But once you stop that kind of filled up their days. I was thinking, okay, so what kind of interaction now do they have with because with the bond of the orca and the trainer, and how they interact. When you take that away, you just leave the poor thing in the pool just to swim around and have no purpose. So it's kind of like you got to think about all of that versus just let them go, put them back out in the wild, and everything's fixed.
There's always like a comparison you can make to certain things. Like if we're talking in like an animal right, like making animals equal to or close to humans in terms of rights, there's always an argument you can make that's like opens your eyes a little bit. Like I was talking to an anti-cap at the Festival of Whales at Dana Point, right? And so they're like, Corky, who is the oldest orca in captivity, who is 54, I think, and she cannot be moved at all or released. She will die. She will die. And this handicap's argument is like, oh, but she knows her family's call and all this stuff. I'm like, and I made the comparison. You know who else knows their family call? If you're gonna make this as animals equal to humans, you know who knows their family call? People who immigrate here because their home has been turned into straight trash. You think it's fair we send them back to some place that they're gonna die? You know?
Right? Yeah, that's a good. That was a good point there.
Yeah,
and that's what I think. I think they probably just say versus thinking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's like some connections missing here.
Yeah, they probably just like, do the right thing, send them back out. You got to think logically here and think about, and people might not like it, but that this is where they've been, most of them since they were born. And then, like you said, this one, she would have, wouldn't have made it if she went back out. So, you know what I mean? If they but they're probably just looking at it from one side, basically, and not really taking in, everything, because now I hear they want to get the trainers out of the water with the dolphins, too. I'm just like, well, okay, well, you're just on a roll here, aren't you?
I think they already did that. Like, I think SeaWorld already said they're going to stop that, which kind of sucks because I have on one of my Instagrams that just focuses on SeaWorld and the U.S. Navy because I'm joining that. It just focuses on, like, SeaWorld. And so there's clips of dolphins and trainers together in the water. And I'm like, are these going to be literally the last clips I'm ever going to see of these two things happening? Because that would be sad.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because that was like the heart of SeaWorld, seeing Shamu Show going to the dolphin. Next thing you know, they're going to shut down the sea lion. And just basically, I think they're probably, I know actually, they're just trying to end the whole entertainment, us, paying to watch these, these beautiful creatures for entertainment, I guess, whatever you may say.
Yeah, but I think the argument is that because they see like certain places that unethically treat their animals, they target all places, even though a lot of places are ethical. And it's just like, are we going to target all doctors' offices because some of them broke the Hippocratic Oath or something like that? You know what I mean? It's like, Some are bad, but a lot of them are good. You just got to be able to have more clear ability to distinguish which ones were bad and which were good.
Right, exactly. That's very true. Wow.
And you know what is weird? Is that with SeaWorld, they've done research with, like, government agencies, and you realize that if SeaWorld was truly as unethical as people say, I'm pretty sure the government, these entities, NOAA and stuff like that, would look at SeaWorld and be like, why would we work with you when you treat your animals like this? Clearly, they wouldn't support something so messed up because they have an image to portray as well,
Right, exactly.
And going along with research is that if you, like, the research that SeaWorld does with their animals, like when whales have babies and stuff like that, we can't do that in the wild because we can't just go up to a wild whale and just watch it have a baby. You can do that at SeaWorld because the tanks have glass. You can literally see the tail come out of the whale. It's easier to, like, get milk composition so we can see in the wild that what toxins might be present in the milk versus, what healthy milk looks like, and these are all important. And it, like the argument I made before, if you're going to see animals as equal as humans, think about the coronavirus that's going around. What if we took all the people that are sick with it and we didn't allow people to not experiment, but, like, ethically test, like, certain, like, treatments on the coronavirus? We just took it away, and so now they have to scramble and try to find something probably close enough to the virus but not enough, and so they can't do clear research, and so it's just like people will suffer because it's harder to do research, and it'll take longer to find cures or vaccines. It's like, if you take away what we're researching, how are we going to help what we're needing to be researched,
Yeah, true. It just seems like their whole thing is put them back out there, let them be free. And then it's like, okay, we're done here. Not like how they're, how to help them or save the whales. You know what I mean? It's more like they're just on this whole trip. Like, okay, this is the right thing. Let's keep animals out of captivity. But what I really think, because once again, it leads back to that movie. Yeah. And like you said, it'll pull on people's heartstrings and all that. But in the beginning, when the man spoke of, way back when it was sea land, when they went out there and they took the calf away from the mother and she was crying. And I think that right there, like, really, really set the bar to make it look like SeaWorld goes out there and gets these animals, takes it away from, its home, its mother, just to bring it here for our own entertainment. But, first of all, it wasn't SeaWorld, and I could say probably second of all that they this was already something that was in the works, the mix, and I think that they probably just tried to help and make it better, make it better.
Then they spin it in a way that makes it look like SeaWorld still does it. Like, I see like terrible memes of people like saying, "Oh, SeaWorld still takes whales from the wild." Like, no, they don't. The most they take from the wild are animals that cannot be released and need to be rehabilitated. Yeah. That's it, because they need medical care. You can't give very serious medical care when an animal is swimming in an ocean that is 2 to 5 miles deep, apparently, according to the Mariana Trench. And so it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I do remember that time they got that big the blue whale, or was it a sperm whale? Or was it a blue whale, right?
I think it was a humpback, actually, because humpbacks are pretty common in California.
Yeah, I just know it was really, really huge. I think it was. And I was just like so amazed by it.
Yeah, I don't remember if they're trying to rescue it or it was legitimately captured, but I want to say that
I think it was hurt, wasn't it?
Yeah, because, the problem here in California is, we're a coastline, right? So we have, like, fishermen. And I went on a whale watching trip last year for the Festival of Whales, and we were like following these gray whales, and so the crab traps at the bottom, usually in certain nets, would get caught on the whale's fins, whether it's their flukes or their pectorals, and they're stuck there, and these things cut into their skin and it hurts. And so we were just making sure as we were watching the whales normally that they didn't get like caught in anything, because it is scary to see an animal struggle with something that is so benign in our eyes, but it's so dangerous for them.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. It's devastating, because that's that part that where mankind comes in, and that's when they need, our help.
Yeah.
To get them out of that situation. So I don't think it's all bad to have the interactions that we do with animals. I do think it's wrong for an animal to be just taken out of their just be like, let's take this animal and versus let's save this animal and that's the way you kind of look at it. But I've always known SeaWorld to be, I'm not gonna lie, again, that video had made, and I think it really went home for me too with Terry Bradshaw, which I was just felt so bad for her husband, for her family, for her, But once again, I also felt bad for Telecom, because I think he was trying to say something. He was trying to tell someone something was up with them that day, I think, or over time, and nobody checked in on it. But I was kind of upset because they tried to make it seem like as if she was in the wrong, or that it was her bad, and I don't know, that whole thing right there, that was really devastating. And then they tried to make it seem like they were trying to cover up all these fatalities that had happened over some time, which I didn't know anything about. So to be honest, it did make it look that way.
Yeah.
And maybe they had the reasons why they didn't want to bring those things out. You know what I mean? Because what then? What would that do? What would that? It probably wouldn't have did very good. Made things very good for them. But
lying doesn't make you look any better either. So it's like a rock in a hard place. Do we be truthful and say that this thing happened, or do we cover it up and then wait for it to be discovered and look even worse?
Yeah, and that's what that did right there. It really did.
Yeah.
So that they probably should have, should have. I'm pretty sure now they probably thinking during all these years they probably should have said something, but that could be kind of hard, even I'm not saying that I would agree with covering up the truth of these dangers that could potentially happen to somebody else, but I guess you don't know unless you're in that position or somebody's shoes. I think personally I would want to know if I was a trainer, like, hey, this whale right here he's so it's like I think some people didn't have to die that died. Yeah. But I don't think they would have ever blamed those whales though if they were here to be able to say something. You know what I mean?
If you want to show your support to the nation during this time of the coronavirus, well, then Anchor is a great way to do that. Using the creation tools that allow you to record and edit from your phone and computer is very easy to do. Anchor will distribute your podcast, and you'll be heard on Spotify, Google Cast, so many different platforms. You don't have to do a thing. Anchor will do that for you. Speaking for what you stand for. Use your podcast to let the nation know that your support is there and that you care. Anchor is a free app, and you can find it right on Google Play Store, or go to your web browser and put in anchor.fm. Your podcast can make a difference right here in Anchor, and it's free. So don't forget, Anchor. Go and download it now.
Well, this is very important, for especially in this time, because this corona stuff going on and so many, the topic everywhere is just, which I can understand because we're on locked down or whatever, but there's other things going on, you know what I mean, that play a part in this whole world. Because our animals and stuff are part of, they're connected too. And then you heard about the tiger?
Oh yeah, the Tiger King thing?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I have Netflix, but I only know the password is saved on my mom's TV, and she hogs that thing, and so I can't really watch it, but I've seen people review it, and it looks ridiculous, but the memes are good. I love the memes.
Yeah, I had a friend was watching it the other day. It was just like, oh, wow. I didn't really get to get much into it, but yeah. And then there's the tiger they just tested that has COVID-19.
Yeah. Well, it didn't specifically say, like, I was reading a post in another SeaWorld group. I think it was the Zoological Defenders one, because there's 3 that I follow, and because that one's just for, like, all zoos and aquarium kind of things. It was like, they were listing which version of with coronavirus, because there's more than one version, because there's a version that does affect animals, but the one going around right now only affects humans. And so it could just be another form that that it just exists. So it's just like, and you can't, and the thing is too, is that there's hospitals lying about people having COVID-19 from dying from it. Like, say you died in a car crash, and then they did an autopsy and they find out that you were COVID-19 positive before your death. They would list that as your death versus the car accident, and which is your real death, so they can get more funding, which kind of sounds cheating, but at the same time, with all these shortages of like masks and ventilators, it's another rock in a hard place.
Yeah. People making decisions. It's like one of those things where it's like, for some might look at it as for the greater good or something like that, but that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's inflating the death toll to a number that's probably actually not realistic by doing stuff like that, and so it's causing more panic. And so that's another thing, is that you're covering up the truth. And it's all rock in a hard place for a lot of just different issues. It's like, do we be truthful and say that you could die from something else versus before you die of COVID-19? No, we just say, oh yeah, all these people definitely died from COVID-19. Totally. And straight lie, and then find out later that we're liars. Don't know.
Yeah, very true, very true. I always, this is a very sensitive topic for people, you know what I mean? Especially since all the deaths, are happening, and nobody wants to seem insensitive to that at all whatsoever. But,
but there comes a time where you have to tell the truth, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And as people, as us are, go ahead, sorry.
As a society, we can't just use our emotions. We actually have to look at the facts too, because we can't.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, you just can't appeal to emotions for a long time, because using emotions is such an awful leverage against people. It's crazy.
It is. And we have to know for ourselves too, to don't believe everything. We have to really think. And then if you look back at history and you think wait a minute, has this ever happened? You know what I mean? Things like this can happen. You can have a government that lies to you, or that, you know what I mean? I even took it back. I said evil. I'm not saying that they're evil, but bad people exist that hold power. I said, Adolf Hitler. He was a real person, and it really happened. He really did those terrible things to people.
And he used a huge leverage of emotion against his people. He quote unquote unified Germany, and he was like, oh, we're gonna be great and all this stuff. And he was pretty close to it had he not screwed around with say Britain, us, and then maybe some of our smaller allies like Russia. But he was pretty close to it. But good always overcomes evil, no matter how long it takes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. That ride ends real. It always ends. So I don't even know why they even take it, but that's just some people. I guess you'll never really. Some people are just I always say, it starts at home, somewhere when somebody is growing up in their life. You learn it from somewhere. Something went terribly wrong. terribly wrong. That's crazy, that you spoke on that, because it's touchy, and I try to keep my opinions, and you know what I mean? Like me, my show is called A Voice to Be Reckoned With, obviously, and I don't apologize for my opinions, but I do want to be sensitive to this devastation that is going on. But on another note, I'm just people, are you seeing what's happening here? Think about it. Even the Marshall's Law thing came up too, and I was like, that I wouldn't be surprised. It's just, to me, things don't look right. Donald Trump is so not taking this serious at all whatsoever. But then I look at all the other people from all the other states, and they're looking like, shit, why don't he just freaking they seem a little irritated, you know what I mean? Because all of them are seeming like, please, people, stay at home.
The problem,
and then him, he's like, it's your choice, and if you want to wear a mask, but I'm not wearing one. He just keeps saying these things that seem like he's not too worried. And so
The
then you
problem
got
with
people out here that's not too worried either, still walking around and socializing.
Yeah. The problem with martial law, especially federally, is that there's an issue in the Constitution of the elastic clause, which gives, like, I think it was not the president, but, like, Congress the ability to, like, make martial law versus
Yeah.
the 10th Amendment that gives that power to the states over their own people. So it's kind of that
Mhm.
constitutionality battle. It's
Yep,
not so much
that's-
Trump's fault. It's just how the
Exactly.
Constitution.
Well, I mean, it's not his fault, but I'm saying as far as him just not
Yeah.
taking it as serious as everybody else is. Like, everybody else seems to be on the same page. But, like, say, for instance, when he's talking, he's saying, okay, that this is, this is happening and this is what we need to do. And I need to stay inside. But at the same time, on Sunday, I'm thinking about loosening up the no contact, and letting people go to church. You know what I mean? Just like, what are you saying right now? And then he made it very clear, I'm not going to be wearing a mask. But everybody else is saying, please, no, wear it because you could be sick and not even know it. And I totally understand that. You could feel fine, but what if you pass it to somebody that can die from it? Yeah.
The real danger.
Yeah. And I just don't understand why he had the nerves to throw in and vote for me on your way to the hospital. Something, very, very Donald Trumpish. And I was like, come on. I was just hoping he didn't say anything stupid this time. At first I was like, okay, Donald. Then he said it and I said, oh, crap. Why'd you keep talking?
Like, for me, I kind of see his point of view because we can't stay like this forever, in the sense that things will have to start getting moving again, because we can't just have the economy looking like this, and we can't keep people indoors. It's keeping people inside is almost just as unhealthy. It's why we can't have things like solitary confinement. Being alone and stuck indoors for a long period of time is so dangerous, no matter how you're doing it. It takes drastic toll on your mental health, because after a while, because the nature like heals and stuff like that, it's good for you to get fresh air, vitamin D, all that stuff, and it just, after a while, it takes a serious toll. And I think that's why a lot of people were like scared in, say, like LA County, and they were getting like weapons from gun stores and stuff like that, because they know at some point people are gonna go like stir crazy and something might happen. I'm not saying it would, but people could potentially just lose their mind because they've been just stuck inside and not be able to do anything, because after a while you do run out of things to do. It is inevitably going to happen. And so that's the one thing I'm a little worried about, but at the same time, it's just like another rock and a hard place. It's like, do we let people out with the risk of the virus, or do we keep people in with the risk of them becoming crazy? So that's my issue.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I thought I lost my connection. I was like, wait, because AT&T Wi-Fi is the worst Wi-Fi I've ever experienced, because it just keeps going in and out.
Yeah, I have it too.
Oh my gosh. So that was my issue. It's like another rock in a hard place. It's just like, do we keep them in and have the economy and crash crash and people go crazy, or do we let them out at the risk of the virus spreading faster? You know what I mean? It's very hard to make a decision there because there's not a real compromise.
Yeah. True. And you could tell they're trying to give some leeway there with the whole social distancing. They're just like, keep things minimal. Yeah, don't go around big crowds. Like, just do what you need to, because I know here we could still go to the store and grab things, go for a little walk, come back,
Yeah, we can do that here, when it's not raining.
So, I mean, but some states are not even doing that anymore.
Oh, yeah. Some states are, like, completely locked down. Like, and some places are so crazy, like, internationally. Like, if you step outside, you might get shot. Like, Jesus. Like, did you hear how North Korea dealt with their one case?
That one where the people were like, they wanted their food and all that stuff. And then he was like, they're going to shoot, basically, like, kill him, right?
What happened was North Korea got one coronavirus case and they shot him. They straight killed him. Like, that's how you deal with it. Just kill him. Can't spread that.
Oh yeah, you said North Korea. Well, yeah, they over there. Oh man, I heard they deal with their. I just wouldn't want to be North Korea.
Oh yeah.
It's like, cause they like all about like population control too, right? So they kind of.
Oh yeah, it's very serious.
Mm-hmm. Man, oh man, this is like a whole, era change. It seems like, we read stuff in the history books, and now we're actually in this time where we're here. People that were like in 1918 dealing with the, pandemics and all that stuff, and now we're here, and we're just like,
yeah. The lucky thing for us is that medicine has advanced.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we can get a vaccine faster than they probably could have with the Spanish flu. And so that's the good part. It's not so good that it still takes time, but it's a less time than it took for the Spanish flu to kill like hundreds of millions. Yeah,
that's what I was saying too. I was like, we're better if that I see it as if that time, it killed a lot of people like it's doing now, and a lot of people withstood that time, and they didn't have what we have, then we should be okay. Because I saw a video from this lady. She was 100 years old. It's like, it did in 2008. She was around for the 1918 influenza. She said killed billions of people, and she just talked, and they even talked about how there was another one where they weren't being honest with the people too, and a lot of people died because they thought it was okay they were like outside, and they thought if they stayed inside that they'd be more prone to catching it. But so they were like taking their businesses like outside and cutting hair, and they were just all amongst each other, and I was just like, wow.
Well, now we know better. One of the most amazing stories I read is that there was this guy who he was around for the Spanish flu too, but he also fought in World War II and everything afterwards he was alive for. He's still alive, by the way, and I think he got COVID-19 and then he overcame it. And I'm like, this guy's a legend. He's 104.
Wow. See, this lady was 100. And she said that her family didn't even catch it. She said everybody in that town, everybody caught it. She said except them. So she was 10. And she said that her family, is her mom and her two brothers, took on the responsibility of helping everybody. She said she doesn't know why they didn't catch it. She just said she remembers every morning before breakfast, her mother would give them some water with a little bit of soda in it, and she would say, drink this. She said this will break up something, and I don't know how she knew this or where she got it from in 1918. She said, but she couldn't think of anything else it could have been why they did not catch that virus. And I was just thinking, like, you can see, and look at us here, just all terrified, and you know what I mean? And we have to just sit back and stop and just think. And if you do what you're supposed to do, I mean,
you'll probably survive,
Yeah. If we stop thinking and just go off, like you said, emotions and stuff. I mean, you see what they did before it even got this bad, bought up all the toilet paper.
Oh yeah, it was so weird walking into Walmart and just the shelves are straight empty. I thought I was looking at them like moving the shelves around. I was like, wait, is this real?
It was so crazy. I was actually at work, because that's when everything was still kind of normal, and it was just freshly, like, oh, there's this, but nothing was shut down in the nation. And I remember my son called me and said, Mom, I just went to Walmart with Grammy and Grampy, and there's no more toilet paper in the whole store. He said it's doomsday or something in here. And so I yelled out to the school. I said, Walmart's out of toilet paper, the whole entire store. And everybody was looking like, the store doesn't have any toilet paper?
Yeah.
That just shows how much they were. And now it's to the point where mostly every store now, you can only buy 2 of something. Because that's how bad it got.
Yeah, but the thing is like, why didn't they do that right after the first wave of crazy people like that? Why did they wait so long?
Yeah, exactly. Like, whoa, this is kind of, you know what I mean? They just let it kept happening. I was like, dude, can you save some toilet paper for everybody else?
People?
Dude, you know the crazy part about that is that I haven't bought any, maybe just like one extra roll, one extra pack of 4 since this whole thing has been going on. I've had the same pack before when it started, and then the extra I bought afterwards, and that's all I've had. I haven't had to buy any, so I'm just like, what's going on?
Do you people have like bowel problems or something?
I was thinking, kind of food is y'all eating? I said, did they say it gives you diarrhea? What's going on?
Yeah.
Totally, it's crazy, but I don't know. I just try to keep faith, keep hope. You know what I mean? Stay positive, do positive things. Yeah.
You know, that reminds me, my mom was on her Facebook and she was telling me the story of like, oh, this person was posting like, oh, we should post all the survival stories and stuff like that, you know, keep positive. And this one person decided to be such a jerk and is like, tried to keep everyone negative. Like, oh, why are you trying to be positive during this thing? You know how many people died and stuff like that? Listen, this virus has like a 3% mortality rate. You are going to live. 98% of people, 98 to 97% of people are surviving. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. And you know, you always gotta have that one that, you know, that freaking Debbie Downer or Negative Nancy. It's like in a terrible time, if one finds a light or some kind of hope or happiness in it, it's like, what's wrong with you? This is a horrible time. How do you think you get through these horrible times, buffoon? You know, if you kind of mentally stay down, that kind of worsens, you know what I mean? Your mental.
Yeah, you're gonna go crazy.
Mental health. Yeah, yeah. It could play a part in how you come out in this all.
Yeah. Like, I read a thing, I think it was something on Facebook, but it was originally from Twitter. It's like, if you don't come out of this somewhat a better person, you stay inside because you don't have the discipline. And like, low-key, that's kind of true, because if you're not showing any sort of kindness or understanding of why this was so serious and why everyone was like kind of coming together, then I think people will help.
Yep, most definitely.
Yeah.
I was telling people in the beginning, I said, if you come back out of this whole thing the same person. I said, if you go in and come back out of this whole, you know, whole thing here, the same person, then I mean, by this, you know, because they keep saying they have these dates when, like, they're telling us we can the school open back up this date and that date, and now we're you know, and I'm just thinking like, I'm not betting on it, you know, so I'll just, you know, I'll wait till it's really over.
Summer, you know, I want at least 1 month of summer. Maybe not June, maybe not July, maybe some part of August, you know.
Some people believe it's going to be going on for, everybody has their theories, but it might, even a few experts and people have said they think this might be going on it could go on for some years. So that's why I just kind of find it interesting to sit back. I take that with a grain of
salt, because I know some of those people, as professional as they are, some of them are like fear-mongering, and they do it purposely too. Like, you know, because there's two sides. There's the people like that's like in the media. There's this person, you know, Trump said that I can't pronounce it really, like hydrochlorine or something like that was a safe drug to use for the COVID-19. Oh
yeah, the malaria.
The story of the guy drinking the fish tank thing is like, that's not connected to Trump. That was a personal dumb decision made by this person because they didn't realize that chemical was not alone in that mix, and it was not administered by a doctor.
Yeah.
And if you're being overseen by a doctor, then you
Exactly.
literally have nothing left to lose, you know? As
Yeah,
long as you do
exactly.
anything safely and properly overseen.
Yeah. So it's like, why not? Just do it. Because I
Mhm.
mean, if it's saving lives, I mean, it hasn't shown to hurt me. You know what I mean? Like hurt anybody or go terribly wrong. So it's like,
Yeah.
isn't this what we've been waiting for? So I'm just like thinking now, like, what is going on here? Don't we want, you know what I mean, this to happen? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just sit back and just kind of, listen. And I listen to the keywords that people probably don't pick up on. I'd be like, interesting. I
The
listen to,
buzzwords
look
that
at
they might use
reaction.
too.
Yeah, exactly. Some people look worried, some don't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I just do my part,
Yeah.
and
Stay
definitely.
informed. Both sides.
Mm-hmm.
See where the BS is. Do your best.
Right. And if I gotta walk to the store and get me something, I definitely will put my mask on and keep my distance and get back home. But I've got to get some air, because when I get that air, it just brings a lot of clarity. And I'm just like, okay. So just imagine somebody not getting any air and they're stuck in the house listening to that mess and then worried. You know what I mean? It's like they need some release. Their brain needs, So it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this, for both arguments, when we started with the SeaWorld thing and now with the coronavirus, is that it all comes down to manipulating people's emotions.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that ties both of these things together is that manipulating people's emotions gets them to believe or do certain things that are bad for others, Like with the SeaWorld thing, like if you release the whales, they will die. And with the coronavirus thing, if you take all the toilet paper or like do insane things, you're gonna harm normal people, And so it's just like, and you're gonna prevent people from healing because they're gonna stop giving out the thing that's gonna help, not cure, but like lessen the effects of the coronavirus. And so it's just like, the more of this like kind of fear mongering leverage that they try to place on people, the more things get worse. And so that's where they're tied together. Yeah, for sure. That's why I always try to tell people, I'm like, just think for yourself. Use your better judgment. Do some research, man. Research helps all.
Exactly. So you have all this time in the house, do some research, become.
Do some studying. Let's go.
Right? By the time this is over, you'll be a scientist or one of the experts or something.
Give me my PhD right now, please.
So you might make the cure. Oh man. Well, I really, really appreciate you coming on here and
it was fun.
And giving some for sure. And I like that you came with facts, So
oh yeah,
I much appreciated that, because you taught me something too,
Yeah.
So that's definitely what I like to do here, is inform people and with facts. So very much appreciate you. And anytime you want to come back on, you're very more than welcome. And
awesome.
And you just keep being the awesome person you are.
Thanks. You too. You got to keep this going, talking with people, getting all the facts from them, their point of view, stuff like that. That's important nowadays,
Very true. Very, very true. It makes a big difference. And you can shut down too with facts too and drop the mic. Boom. Let's move on.
Yeah.
To better things. But no, facts are important. And when you have facts, then it's kind of leave no room for that BS to come in.
Definitely. Knowledge is power.
Right. Definitely. Well, thank you so much. And you have a good day and stay safe and keep doing what you do. All righty. We'll be talking soon.
All right. See you then.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Please be safe. Stay inside. You could be saving lives, and especially your own. This is important, and this affects a nation. So do the right thing and stay inside. Thank you, and I hope you're all doing well. This is Brandy with a voice to be reckoned with.